The investigation into the devastating PIA crash initial findings show that the aircraft was fit to fly and that the weather through all stages of the trip was fine. The preliminary report suggests that pilot error was to blame. May 22 took a devastating turn of events when reports began to emerge that a passenger plane had crashed in Pakistan. A domestic flight operated by Pakistan International Airlines, PIA, PK8303, was traveling from Lahore to Karachi when the Airbus A320 came down in a residential area near Jinnah International Airport. The 91 passengers and crew of 8 were all killed in the crash, apart from 2 people who miraculously survived the wreck. As expected, the government opened a full probe into the cause of the crash, which was due to be presented to Parliament on June 22. However, the report was handed directly to Prime Minister Imran Khan. The aircraft crashed in a residential area. The initial findings of the report suggested that there were no technical issues with the plane, and that the weather was fit for flight. However, it pointed to mistakes made by the cockpit crew, control tower personnel and air traffic control as contributing to the crash. As reported by the Tribune, he said that the pilot and the ATC did not follow the procedure. The plane was 100% okay. Distracted with coronavirus. Khan stated that the pilots were not focused on the job because they were distracted with talk about the coronavirus. He told the assembly that, in the last half hour, the pilots' discussion was about coronavirus. They were not focused as their families were affected. Aviationist in Pakistan further elaborated on this. These distractions might have contributed to the series of events that led to the crash of the plane. However, ATC and the airport tower controller are also implicated in the mistakes. According to the preliminary report, the aircraft's first attempt at landing was outside of the normal parameters. Autoland was engaged but was subsequently disengaged by the pilot. The report says that the control tower should not have permitted landing at the speed and altitude in play. There was also a failure on the part of the air traffic control, as they didn't provide the radio frequency to the tower. In a bizarre twist, the aircraft's landing gear was lowered when the plane was 10 nautical miles out from the landing strip. However, the gear was incomprehensibly raised again at around 5 nautical miles out. This caused the aircraft to land on its engines. It seems that the landing gear was jammed at this point. The pilot failed to inform the control tower that the gear wasn't lowering. Following the first landing attempt, the aircraft stayed in the air for 17 minutes, during which time both of its engines failed. The aircraft had been attempting to land at Jinnah International Airport after traveling from Lahore. However, after a failed attempt and a go-around, the pilot lost control of the aircraft, and it plummeted into housing. The flight had been without problem, but on landing, it is believed that the landing gear would not deploy. It wasn't until the failed landing and subsequent go-around that ATC officials became aware of this issue. Just 12 seconds separate the moment that crews informed the ATC tower that both engines had been lost and the mayday call. After this, the aircraft lost altitude, colliding with residential buildings. It is believed that the A320's engines were not responding to input from the pilot. Having partially touched the ground, the aircraft could not gain the altitude that it needed. ATC responders asked the aircraft to maintain 3,000 feet. The plane could not, and the pilot asked for a 2,000-foot clearance. According to Flight Global, investigators presume that leaking fuel could have contributed to the inability to gain significant thrust. In a video shared on social media, the aircraft is seen descending into model colony with a high nose as though it were attempting to ascend.